Hello and good evening, and a very warm welcome to a special program called Cricit Predicta on NewsX, powered by 1xBet. In yesterday's IPL clash at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore, Kolkata Knight Riders secured their second consecutive victory of the season by defeating Royal Challengers Bangalore by 7 wickets. This marked the host team's first loss in the season, following a streak of 9 consecutive wins. Well, that's quite a record. Kolkata, on the other hand, chased down the target of 183 runs with ease, reaching their 186 for 3 in just 16.5 overs. Shreyas Iyer and Rinku Singh completely demolished with their unbeaten contribution of 39 and 5 runs respectively, while notable innings came from Venkatesh Iyer and Sunil Narayan. Yes, the same Sunil Narayan that we pitched him to be one of the most destructive all-rounders of the game, who seldom plays for his country, yes, and Phil Salts. Yash Dayal, Mayank Daga and Vijay Kumar Vaikash took 1 wicket each for Bangalore. Moving on to today's fixtures, Lucknow Super Giants, led by KL Rahul, aim to bounce back from their opening match defeat against Royals. Meanwhile, Punjab Kings are under the leadership of Shikhar Dhawan, seek their second win after a mixed start to the tournament with 1 win and 1 loss. When considering the head-to-head recording between the two, Lucknow and Punjab, Lucknow holds the advantage with 2 wins out of the 3 matches played between these teams in IPL history, while Punjab has secured 1 victory. Well, that's the stadium for now, but I'm very pleased to invite one of the few icons in the cricketing world who wish could have come back and played T20 ahead of its time. But people who saw him thought to him as the rock star of wicket-keeping. Yes, in 1985, Sadanand Vishwanath, the former Indian wicketkeeper, came into the world of cricket with great aplomb and just dazzled his way. We're very happy and pleased to join him. Also joining us is Terry Blake, former commercial director of the England Cricket Board, who's here, who talks about business all the time, but his love for Surrey and cricket in general remains with his trademark smile on his face. Of course, first, let me welcome Sadanand Vishwanath to the show. Mr. Vishwanath, welcome. How was the pitch yesterday, and do you feel that you were ahead of your time, perhaps by 35 years? Had you been playing today? Perhaps today is the time for the wicket-keepers' dominance. They are the skippers, they hit the ball hard, they make big bucks, and of course, they have attained the iconic status. Do you think you missed that?
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sunil, good evening, Terry, my friend Rajkumar, and all the other participants and all the viewers. Yeah, it's terrific to be back on television after my stint as a cricket umpire for nearly 3 decades. And I'm back as a commentator now. So thank you very much for this opportunity. While time flies, life goes on, and I guess we have to all accept whatever has happened has happened. And there's absolutely no regret. I certainly remember watching the first match at the IPL way back in 2008. It was between KKR and Royal Challengers, actually.
Yes.
On April 15th. And Brendan McCullum, he just went hammer and tongs. He smacked about 12 or 13 sixes. And KKR won that match by 150 runs, actually. And at the end of the match, it left me bewildered. It just left me totally, I just didn't know, exasperated. I was just sitting over there in the stadium after all the crowd had left, and I was just wondering what has happened to cricket. But then something intervened, maybe a holy saint, maybe Almighty God. And then I thought to myself, yes, the new generation, they love this kind of cricket. They love this razzle-dazzle. They love this entertainment. They love this, instant gratification. And
Mr. Vishwanath, as we go along, we will chat about all the information and all your anecdotes.
Yeah, I'll quickly sum it up. But I think IPL has come to stay, T20 has come to stay, and it's razzle-dazzling everybody. Everybody, all the stakeholders are happy, and well done to BCCI and IPL.
Absolutely. Let me throw in a curveball to you. In 1985, Are you up for the challenge?
Well, we had the Hindu Trophy, which was a 30 overs game. We never had the IPL then at that time. But yeah, we were happy playing T50 and 50 overs international. It was a privilege and a unique honor to represent our country
Absolutely.
and emerge victorious. We emerged victorious.
Mr. Vishwanath, Sadanand, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a very cheeky question, and I need an honest, brutal answer to that. Were you assigned the duty of just badgering Javed Miandad in the 1985 by Sunil Gavaskar and just make his life miserable from behind the stumps? That was another trait that you had and a duty.
Well, yeah, that was one of my traits, but I never went beyond the line. I never tried to disturb the batsman's concentration. I was always encouraging the bowlers. I was, castigating the fielders sometimes when they didn't throw well or didn't feel well. But it was never my intention to disturb the batsman's concentration. And Javed never got runs when I was behind the stumps. I guess that's because he never liked me, and vice versa.
Well, you stumped him out on a couple of occasions, but that was history then. I'm going to move on my focus off to another guest of ours, Terry Blake. Terry, you've seen the evolution of cricket from staid, plain test match with a record day and a rest day in between. You go back to a slam hundreds. Do you enjoy this kind of cricket, or are you an old traditional someone who's just got the checks coming in to the ECB and you are happy with everything? Go on.
Ooh, I could spend an hour answering that question. No, I do prefer Test cricket. Interesting that Sadanand mentioned McCullum, who was obviously led the way in the first IPL and is now the coach of the England cricket team. And although England find themselves bottom of the
I think that's his pension ticket. I think that's his pension fund for the rest of his life. Till he plays, he will use that IPL thing for the rest of his life. Isn't it, Terry?
Well, why wouldn't you? But he's now apparently invented something he doesn't like being called Bazball. But to answer your question, I worked at the ECB from 1989 through to 2003. And the last thing I did was help the launch of T20. And I think it was very much needed in the same way as the 40-over game back in the late 60s was invented. T20 was also very necessary because the counties needed to have a short, sharp competition after work to bring in school children, people coming in after work to have some fun. And it's grown into this enormous format, and the IPL obviously leads the way. I would just say one other thing, that this IPL in particular for the England players, as it is for all the other players, is a good warm-up for the ICC T20. Absolutely. Not that I'll ever call the IPL a warm-up, but there are certain players like Bairstow and Curran who are pretty much playing for a place in the T20 squad.
Well, absolutely. That's an interesting point you made, that everybody has an eye towards the upcoming World Cup. That's huge. Sadanand Vishwanath, the way Bangalore played yesterday, your home team, I guess, at some stage, because you've been an umpire, so you have to be neutral. But in the heart of your heart, you're a Bangalore kid. Tell me, were you satisfied with the way these guys batted? And were you disappointed equally by the way these guys bowled?
In the team that's going on in Karnataka for so many years, nearly 15 years now, and we haven't brought that coveted trophy back. Our women's team, our RCB women's team, emerged triumphant in their second attempt. So kudos to them. But it's been 15 long years now that RCB have not yet lifted the trophy. Ruk jana nahi, tu kahi haar ke. So that's the theme song of the RCB team. I hope they get it this time.
Well, that's interesting. Ruk jana nahi, tu kahi haar ke. Easily translatable into saying that, hey, you don't have to stop, you've got to keep on moving. Anyways, coming back to Terry Blake. Terry, what do you think of the team? Are you looking at the English players as well with a keen way to impress their team owners and also pick up their spot, especially after a bad World Cup in India? Your views, Terry?
World Cup came as a real surprise, but we are the holders of the T20 World Cup as well, and I hope that England can put on a better performance. Leon Livingston seems to have had a good start. Sam Curran has had one good knock of over 60, I think, in the first match. Bairstow hasn't fired yet, so that's probably a warning. He'll probably come good at some point, although in the recent Test series, he found it very hard to come good at all.
Absolutely. You've got players who take time to come to the party, but English players suddenly have a very good economics kind of a notch where they are picked up at the highest. What is the reason? If you were to break it down, Sam Curran, Livingston, what is the madness behind this complete method that we don't see? It's an invisible method, but madness you see.
Do you mean why are there so many of these young players picked? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, especially the Englishmen. They picked up exorbitant rates where they would leave their own country duties and play for IPL. What makes them so?
Well, I suppose starting with Jos Buttler, I think he's certainly our best white ball cricketer. So I think that goes without saying. Bairstow too has had a wonderful white ball career, seeking form now, perhaps. And then, Sam Curran has been around a long time now, and he's a bit of a pin-up boy. Good looks, blonde, can hit the ball for six, can bowl the slower ball, can open the bowling, great fielder, as all these players are, of course. And Liam Livingston is another one who hits the ball a long, long way. But there are so many wonderful players and strikers. The skills in the IPL and in T20 cricket in general are unbelievable. A whole new set of skills has emerged over the last 20 years.
Well, absolutely. The skills have definitely grown. People have pivoted and upskilling has been there. Of course, we are joined by another brutally honest and very charismatic commentator and a fellow of Mr. Sadanand Vishwanath, Mr. Atul Vasan. Atul, thank you for joining in at such a short notice, but also would like to get your views. I'm going to draw your attention to your statement. You said RCB is a team which can score 300 runs, and it is the same team where the bowlers can and are capable of giving 300 runs. Do you still stand by it after seeing what happened yesterday?
Well, it is odd day. I'm sure, things can turn around for them. But the thing is that they've got the bowlers, but they don't have like the strike, the mystery bowler. If they let go of Wanindu Hasarenga, which was very surprising for me last year. So unless you have got a frontline international performer in a wrist spinner, you'll always struggle. But still early days. I think things can turn around quickly.
Well, absolutely. But what do you think of their bowling, especially if their second best bowler had only taken 14 wickets and he's called Glenn Maxwell, Does it bother you again if you're an RCB fan?
Yeah, you know what, I will be very, I will not go for the micros in each game because you need a sample size to actually judge a player's form or what he is doing currently and what he is capable of doing, or if he's not pulling his weight. So I think it'll be hard for them to eventually just stop people because if they keep on, even if they score runs and if they're not able to defend it, but then it's going to be morale sapping thing. And where will they get the bowlers? They will have to go and think out of the box. How batting will win you odd matches, but bowling will win you more matches.
Well, absolutely. Bowling will win you more matches. I'm going to also draw your attention to the pre-match felicitation ceremony, the quick honor ceremony, and certainly you saw a brilliant picture of Virat Kohli, your Delhi boys, who you selected, and Gautam Gambhir, of course, shaking hands, exchanging pleasantries. Were you surprised? Because Delhiites seem to have a little more vocabulary than the other players.
Well, sometimes with this kind of nature, people tend to do a lot better because, like Gautam, I know he's what kind of person. He likes to pick a fight to get the best out of him.
Yes.
But then he sometimes doesn't know where to stop and where to pick a fight and where not to pick a fight. Early days when it was working for him, performing, it was fine. But let me tell you, there are no permanent enemies and no permanent friends in cricket. So
lovely.
Let's wait for things to pan out.
Absolutely. In today's match, in Lucknow Super Giants, you've got Riyan Parag, Avesh Khan, and in Punjab Super King, you've got the impact players of Prabh Simran Singh and Rabada. What do you make of Rabada? Especially he makes everybody's life miserable, but he also gets hit. What is your opinion about it?
Well, he's a world-class bowler. I think he will win you odd games, and that is what you look for if you can pay multi-millions to Aussie players. And Rabada has actually, he can walk the talk. He has been there. He has done amazing things in IPL. So I would always be wary of him because in odd games, he will just pick you 2-3 wickets and come back. He's got a very good Yorker and he's played here a lot. So he knows all the conditions and all. So he's always a threat.
Are you also excited about when you look at the coaches here? They look quite interesting right now. When I look at Lucknow Super Giants, you've got Justin Langer. Punjab has Trevor Byles. Assistant coach in Lucknow Super Giants, you've got Lance Krusner, Praveen Tambe, Mone Mokhel, and Jonty Rhodes. I mean, you've got a star team actually sitting in the dugout. What is that made up of?
I think it's a massive overkill. I think what are you going to coach? How can you change a bowler? What can you actually add? But this is just the way of IPL. It's in the nature of the beast to have the elephant teeth, which look good but doesn't come in handy when you're eating banana or something. So I think just in the dugout, if you have all these foreign players, it looks like you spend money and showcasing is good for the marketing things. But I don't think so. These fly-by-night operators, when they come and just how much value they can add is coaching, unless they are associated all year round.
Well, absolutely. You've made a very interesting point. Now I'm going to go to Sadanand Vishwanath and ask him a very pointed question on how the umpires turned out in a match where Delhi Capitals were playing. If you've seen, you're only allowed 4 players, and here you had a 5th foreign player walking in, and the umpire had to step in and say, hey, you can't do that. And he walked out of the dugout and things got settled. I mean, do you think umpires have to be more vigilant in today's thing, and they have to be mic'd up and they have to be very completely restricted in their actions and their words? Your views?
Well, nice question. And I think the match referee also has an important role. And the third umpire, the on-field umpire, the fourth umpire. In fact, I think Ricky Ponting made a mistake in that particular incident. And the third umpire, Madan Gopal,
yes,
he clearly mentioned to Ricky Ponting that the Delhi Capitals team were wrong. And there were never ever 5 players on the field. So that was a total misapprehension.
Absolutely.
I hope it never happens again. I hope it really never happens again. But
Well,
yes, you're right. Umpires have to be on their toes. You have to be spot on, and you have to really have a lot of courage. And
I'm going to get Atul Vasan here. Isn't this the responsibility of a high-profile blockbuster dugout assistant coaches and them? Your views. Validate your point. You just said that these are the elephants who don't know how to eat bananas. Just make a point.
Well, they know,
further.
but I think they forgot to give them the calculators because they've given them computers. So maybe collectively, if they can't count on their fingers and then they make such a blunder, the umpire should only penalize. If something happens, there should be penalty, and this should be pinching, not just correcting. And it happens when you have more fielders in the outfield than the inside, and immediately if a ball happens and you are caught, sometimes it happens because captains miss it, and there's a penalty on it. So I think if something like this has happened, the franchise should be penalized with some runs or some penalty.
Absolutely. Very good point. Sadanand, in today's world, do you think what Atul has said, do you validate that point?
And he knows his beat, and he's very experienced. He's a wonderful cricketer. He's a wonderful commentator too. And I completely agree with him and endorse his views.
Well, absolutely. Well, he holds no punches and he just speaks his mind. We just have the last question coming up. But before going on to that, did you have a run-in with Atul when you guys were playing in the Ranji session? Because he seemed to have some nice anecdotes on everything.
Well, Atul and me have had a very good friendship. I've met him even when he was in the MRF camp as a trainee. But unfortunately, I have not played against or with him. But I really enjoyed watching him play. And I have also enjoyed my interaction with him. He's a lovely friend of mine.
Well, our fans definitely loved listening to his views because they come in very brutal and at some time little painful to the person on the other side. But before we close our show, I would like to ask our panelist. I'd go to Terry, straight to London. Terry, who's going to win today's match and why do you think so? It's Lucknow Super Giants. It's a Cricit Predicta session where you ask your prediction, where we ask for your prediction. You just have to talk about who your winning side is, Lucknow or Punjab.
But Sunil, Riyan is not playing for Punjab. Riyan plays for Rajasthan.
Sorry?
You were mentioning that Riyan Parag is playing for Punjab. He's not playing for Punjab. Rian plays for Rajasthan.
Absolutely. There was, Rian was another point that we were trying to make, but due to the paucity of time, we couldn't get onto it. But in today's point, just want to understand who's the Cricit Predicta winner for you. Terry, let's go. Let's take the first shot.
I fancy Punjab to come through today. By the way, I should just add that I was in Lucknow in 1993 for an England tour match against a Board 11, and the pitch was just as slow and low then as it is today, apparently.
Well, interesting. Sadanan, your favorite team for today and why?
Well, I think LSG, because my friend KL Rahul is the captain. He's also the captain of our club team, Bangalore United Cricket Club, and they have a fantastic batting lineup. Quinton de Kock will fire today, and then you have the other chaps like, the Nicholas Puran, and of course, all the other master blasters. I expect LSG to come out firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely. Now we'll come back to Atul Vasan. Atul, you must have done your arithmetic. You have your calculator and the computer and the laptop in place. Tell us why.
Not really. I think, again, it is a very silly question and you ask it and just to call out. I can just toss a coin because anybody can win. But looking at that, I would like to see LSG win because they lost a very narrow game last time. And the bowling actually doesn't give you confidence. They've got Ravi Bishnoi is there, but Naveen Ulhaq and Yash Thakur. And, that is just leaving me seemingly a bit undercooked.
Actually, Atul, the toss will be quite crucial. I think the team batting first has a very good chance.
That's a very important point you make because as the team goes along, the pitch is going to go low, slow, and will be tough for the batting team's second. That's what the prediction goes. Atul, final closing words from you, I think. Thank you, Bhai.
Not really. I think opening words will be better once we analyze the match. Once the match happens, we can find and pinpoints what went wrong and where it was, where it could have turned around. But just to predict and just stick your neck out is very silly in this T20 format.
Well, absolutely. That's all we had time for. We'll call you for the breakfast show where we do the post-match analysis. But this is your Cricit Predicta, a show where you go, look at all the stats, make predictions. And I thank all my favorite panelists here, Terry Blake from London, Atul Vasan from Delhi, and Sadanand Vishwanath from Bangalore. Well, keep watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.